Hey, wonderful people. Thanks for joining me for this week's Learning with Lir. I'm Ryan Virden, founder and director of Lir Cultural Coaching. Check out our website in the description. I want to start this week by wishing everyone a happy Black History Month. Inevitably, white folks get in their feelings when it comes to Black History Month. This year, the hashtag White History Month was trending on X. Not surprising for that space, but also it is pretty indicative of how white folks feel about Black History Month in general. And that got me thinking, why does this happen and how do we respond to it? And again, here we are with the inadequate frame of privileged discourse and the language of privileged discourse to frame our anti-racism. That is what we have to respond to this nonsense. And the reason it keeps happening is because that language and that framework is not capable of responding adequately to it. And that's because in privileged discourse, white folks are offered essentially one of two routes for engaging with and understanding Black History Month. The first comes from accepting privileged discourse. It names one of the privileges of whiteness, of people who look like me, is that everything is about us. Everything centers us. So you'll hear folks say, like, every month is White History Month, right? And so if you accept that, one of the privileges that whiteness gives us that we can sacrifice is a month. And so we sacrifice Black History Month in order to be a good ally or whatever it is in our heads, and we think we're doing the right thing by giving February to Black History Month. Somehow we're furthering racial justice. That's what we're sacrificing. The second route that white folks can engage with Black History Month also comes from privileged discourse, and it's the denial that privilege exists. So if privilege doesn't exist, neither does the need for Black History Month. Therefore, because there isn't a month called White History Month, Black History Month is racist, and that's how you get nonsense like the hashtag White History Month, or people saying, what about White History Month? It extends beyond Black History Month, right? Like, you'll hear people say there's no white entertainment television and all that nonsense, right? I'm going to keep shouting this, though. Neither one of those furthers racial justice, right? I think, obviously, the denial one, that one's pretty clear. But also that first one doesn't further racial justice, okay? And before I explain and move forward, I want to be very, very clear. Black history is American history. It is more American history than those standards you're going to read on any state's history textbooks or standards that guide their schools, okay? It should be taught. It should be celebrated everywhere, anywhere, all the time, okay? But whiteness's inability to do that makes having Black History Month a dedicated space to focus on Black history absolutely fundamental and incredibly important. Okay, this is not saying we shouldn't have Black History Month. We absolutely need Black History Month because of whiteness, right? And there's you can go find all kinds of thought pieces. You can go check out all kinds of other smarter people than me that are explaining why Black History Month is so important. I want to take it a little different direction. I want to look at the question of how white folks should engage with Black History Month. Okay? Mainly because this is where privileged discourse really demonstrates its inability. Too often, white folks will take this neutral posture. We'll act like, sure, we support Black History Month, but it doesn't have anything to do with us. And neutral is better than antagonistic in doing things like making White History Month trend on Twitter, right? But it assumes a neutrality of whiteness. It assumes that whiteness is natural, that whiteness is the norm, right? It positions Black history as being special, a history for Black people, for them, people disconnected from us, and therefore that we can't learn anything about ourselves from Black history, okay? But the reality is, Black History Month gives us white folks an opportunity to bear witness to the violence of whiteness. It offers us a moment to reflect on how that violence has shaped our own lives. Because remember, whiteness is not biological. That means somewhere along the line, our ancestors chose to participate. They were taught how to participate. And the questions of where did that happen? How did that happen? And why did that happen? Are extremely important ones for us to reflect on and to come up with real tangible answers to. Because being able to answer those questions is fundamental to healing from whiteness. Those answers make it clear that we still have a choice. We can choose whiteness or we can choose humanity. And that's the thing when we reflect on these questions and we support the space for Black history to be taught and celebrated as it should be, we will see that the story whiteness tells us about ourselves is also false. It's super flattened and it's too narrow. We will see that not everybody who looked like us accepted whiteness. Some of us, not nearly enough, let me be clear, not nearly enough of us, but some of us, people who look like me, chose humanity from the jump. And we can learn those names, we can learn their stories, and we can mark those as our real heroes. Okay? That is how we begin to heal from whiteness. So rather than sit passively disconnected from Black History Month, acting like it has nothing to do with us, let's take the opportunity Black History Month offers us to reflect on whiteness, on our own journey, and begin to heal the wound of whiteness in us. When we do this, we'll take steps towards reconnecting with our own humanity, be better able to connect with the humanity of others, with creation, and with the Creator. That is the point, moving towards the beloved community. Thanks for joining me. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, share. It really, really helps. Follow us on social media. Follow me on social media. Let the algorithms know this is useful content. It really, really does make a difference. Thank you again for joining me. Love y'all.